a really interesting panel of companies and people who are going to talk about how gaming and entertainment are going to be essential to the mass adoption of blockchain and crypto. I think you're going to learn that it's really about entertainment and helping people do the things they already love to do without knowing that they're using blockchain. And so with that, I'll introduce now Daniel Crothers from Veve, who just gave a presentation, my good friend Christian Henschel from TradeStars, and Masaru Onogi, who is from Thirdverse, which is a really interesting platform. If I could ask each of you for 1 minute or less, this never works, but 1 minute or less, just to introduce yourself and your platform so we could launch in without taking up too much time on the intros. So Daniel, why don't you start?
Yep, sure. Thanks, James. Yeah, so my name is Dan. I'm the co-founder and COO at Veve. Veve offers digital collectibles or NFTs from your favorite brands in a in premium digital format. And, it's very topical to this particular forum. We are about bringing this kind of NFT blockchain space to the masses, but in a package that is very, very clean, very easy to use, and, draws people in with the brands and the content that they really love.
Fantastic. Christian, you're on mute, Christian.
Awesome, yeah. Hi guys, I'm Chris. I'm co-founder of TradeStars. TradeStars is a decentralized exchange for fractional NFTs, actually. What we're doing is tokenizing the real-life stats of athletes into NFTs that then we fractionalize. So users can buy and sell shares of them. And the economic incentives for the user rewards is based on real-life performance of the athletes.
Fantastic, thank you. And Nogi?
Hi, I'm Nogi. I'm a co-founder of the Thirdverse. But Thirdverse is actually the VR gaming company, not a blockchain. But I previously worked for Gumi. Gumi is a mobile gaming company. Then we diversified in business, and then we established a crypto fund called the Gumi Cryptos Capital. And I'm part of it before, but I've been the VR, and then I've been stepped out for a while. But still, our business concept is just combine the VR virtual world and the crypto. That's why I could talk about it a little bit with entertainment. Yeah.
So Nogi, tell us about your platform. What's the user experience?
So we are a VR gaming company, but our company named the Thirdverse. Then we are metaverse, and then third place, which is somewhere in the different from the current the universe. And we are trying to create those third place in the virtual world. That's why we say, the company with the Thirdverse. And then, but still, it's not easy to create, completely, completed the virtual world. That's why we started develop and creating the game first in the VR. And then currently, the first game we provided, it's a sword fighting game. It's we say it's a hyper realistic. It's a real feeling you have. And then we are now preparing second game called the Frostpoint. That's a 10 versus 10 VR shooter game. It's also very immersive experience. It's very intense, very the fast-paced game.
And so each of you guys, and feel free to jump in with each other. So if you're talking to each other, that's perfectly fine. If I fade into the background, how do users interact with your platform? How do they learn about it? And how do they actually? What are they doing it through a console, through a handheld? What's the way that I'm actually experiencing? Dan, why don't you start?
Sure. So right now, Veve is available initially on a mobile device. So it'll be available on Android now and coming to iOS very soon. And we will also be rolling out a web version a little bit later, in early next year. And, really the way that people interact with our app, we don't try to advertise the fact that we're blockchain or that, you really can dive deeper into the app to really explore that world if you want to. As I mentioned earlier, we're about, attracting users in with the brands that they love. I mean, a Batman fan, he has a t-shirt, a poster, all the movies, maybe a model of one of the Batmobiles. And now he can have, he or she can have these digital collectibles of his favorite characters, whether it's a Batmobile or a Batman. And then with the, you know, as they come into the app and they start to buy the collectibles and learn a little bit more about it, as at that point, we start to sort of say, hey, you know, did you know that there's this other layer behind, you know, what we've got with the collectibles, and you can, you know, do other cool things with them.
And Christian, same question.
Yeah.
How do people interact with you? How do they find out about you?
Well, we started with the, I mean, our aim is to be massive. So we put a lot of focus from the start by, you know, we are using blockchain as the underlying technology for this. This has a tremendous advantage for us if you compare other fantasy sports platforms. But the real challenge here is to hide the layers for the users, for normal users to play without knowing, you know, private keys of a wallet or signatures and everything. So we took a radical approach to that, and we try to hide all those layers. The users just register as in a normal platform with their email, and as soon as they register, they can deposit and they can play. We implemented meta transactions for that, and we are into a layer 2 network, which is Matic, and that's allows us to pay for the user's transaction. So we made we put a lot of effort in doing that, because we think that we can leverage on this technology, but the final goal is for normal people to use the platform as they were, you know, using another fantasy sport platform or another game, let's say. It's a web-based, yeah.
Yeah, I was just going to say, yeah, I couldn't agree more, Chris. Like, I mean, that's exactly how you need to do it. You know, get rid of all of these sort of technological layers, make it very easy onboarding for the user.
Yeah, we started with the first. I mean, the first version was, you know, you had to have a MetaMask, and you know, use when you do a transaction, you need to sign it. So it's you know, it's hard to do it. I mean, you are putting a lot of barriers for the final user. With the approach we had, we were seeing numbers, conversion rates of 20%, like that. So it's pretty amazing that once you clear that from the user, it's very easy to onboard actually, and their experience is much better, you know.
Mm.
And Nogi, how do you find users, and how do you onboard them, and how are they interacting with the third verse?
Okay, so our story is a little different because we are VR, and then VR is totally depends on the device penetration, and then we've been personally in the industry since 2015, and then generally said the market expansion speed was actually much slower than we expected. And I know so many VR gaming startups before, but they already gave up. But what we are trying to do is now, I'm based in San Francisco, and then I work closely with, say, Facebook, Oculus, because they are fully committed for the future. And that is one of the approach, because they have a media, they have influencers, and then we work together and then try to reach out new users with those, like partners. That's we are trying to do, expand our, the brand. But experience-wise, it's again, it's a VR. So existing game is, even mobile, console, PC users he always monitor. But VR is, the user is going into the monitor, and it's a 360 experience. That's why you feel like it's a VR. And that's why we feel in the future, it's once it's becomes the standard, people grab something. It could be the money, and it could be the crypto. That's what we are thinking. And then try to the trade the in-game item with the cryptocurrencies. That we are trying to realize in the future. But current focus is realize more like realistic experience in the VR.
Right. And Nogi, do you see people kind of living a second life inside a VR platform? Do you see that becoming a new aspect of the normal life?
Yeah, I think so. Especially since late this March, this pandemic started, the people stay home, and then not only VR, but home entertainment, made a big growth. But it's also in the VR, and people want to communicate with people then VR has a more like realistic experience. You feel like someone is right next to you. That's why that's very special experience for the users.
And Christian, has the pandemic affected you in any way?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, suddenly all sports, stopped around the world. So if it affects us in a negative way, let's say, but at the same time, we took that as an opportunity. We started looking for other verticals to add to the platform, because we didn't know if the sports were about to come back in 6 months, 8 months. Now it's coming back, and now we are investing in marketing again. But at that moment in April, everything got stopped, and we started approach esports and also other verticals, radical things like celebrities and that. And it also helped us to understand that our concept is broader and more, more broader than sports, and we can apply the similar thing of fractionalizing NFTs with different things. For example, celebrities. Actually, we have because of this we have an agreement with an Indian company, and we are doing the next vertical for this, which would be around celebrities and influencers. So it affects us, but we took as an opportunity to think or to rethink the model, and yeah.
And so, one of my philosophies about mass adoption is to fish where the fish are, right? These people that come to me with their platform and they think it's that just announcing it is going to attract people. I find that to be, a high risk strategy for launching. So if you guys could talk to me about, what audiences are you trying to approach? Who controls those audiences now? And how are you trying to leverage real world existing communities and brands in order to create relevance and to get yourself to be habituated into people's daily activities? Dan, you want to start?
Yeah. So, it's a very, very good question. I mean, from our side, it's all about attracting people through the brands that they already love. I mean, the reality is there's probably 10 million or even more Batman fans out there right now. And as I mentioned before, we offer them a new way to sort of collect the cool things that they want. So for us, in terms of targeting our audience, we obviously work with many different brands, and the way that we can target these guys is like, for example, with Batman Black and White, our digital collectible line, it's impossible to buy these collectibles in the real world. So we'll be advertising in the back of the comics, along with, DC. We'll be partnering with our brand partners to, co-market across social channels. And obviously a huge range of sort of digital advertising, marketing. And if you go on YouTube and look up collectible influencers, there are thousands of them. I mean, people who just literally dedicated to Batman, dedicated to Ultraman. So for us, the angle, the approach that we sort of attack it from is not necessarily saying, hey, come and look at our cool tech, or hey, come and look at our cool app. It's about reaching out to our fans and, connecting with the collectors and say, hey, here is an entirely new way. You can have Batman one-to-one next to you in your living room. In the future, you might even be able to do a little shuffle with him, post it on TikTok. So yeah, that's a little bit more our approach with, again, our audience is about the mass market. So we use fairly traditional techniques to attract the audiences the same way as that we would, I guess, if we were retail, but we're driving them directly into the app.
Awesome.
Chris, sorry.
Should I go?
Yeah,
we are using traditional channels, actually. I mean, we are first. I mean, obviously, we are approaching to real sports and real athletes and teams. But for the first stage, we are using traditional channels. We fish in social channels and networks. I mean, sports is something that's very passionate, and it's worldwide. I'm sure that we always, everyone here had a discussion with a friend about if that player or the other player, if he would, play better or not. So it's a thing that, gather people together, and we are using. We always say, if you go to the site, you will see that how much your sports knowledge is worth, right? That's what we are trying that's our message, right? I mean, we are giving the users the opportunity to invest in their passion in some way, and to, compete against their friends, to at the end, telling their friends that, okay, I know more than you about sports. The channels, I mean, at the first, for reaching that target audience is, social networks and yeah, social networks. I believe that that's the main channel for gathering this type of users in our site, at least what we been doing until now.
And Nogi, how do you find users?
Yes. So BR, the targeted user, is actually being changing very rapidly. Because initially, when their device company launched their first device, it was cost about $800, but it's not a standalone. And then you need a very high spec PC, which is like $2,000 or something. And the total cost, the user have to invest like almost $3,000. Who buy it, right? The versus the PS4, it's like $299 or $399. And then as far as we see the console device history, if it's more than $500, nobody buy it. But the VR device, getting smaller, and standalone device came up, and then we really feel a big opportunities right now, because the Facebook Oculus just launched a standalone device called the Oculus Quest 2. And this is a high-end device and then very high resolution, and the price is only $299. It's really reachable for everyone. This is a good timing to reach our mass market. And then way of the marketing branding way also that expanded. Because like I told you, we need to work with the platform device companies. But right now, many people started taking it. And our company is originally in Japan, and then Oculus started TV commercial only for the Oculus device. They started the mass marketing. That's, I think, the big opportunities for us right now.
And so right now, is the market ready for you guys? Do you think, or are we still too early? Because that's always, everyone's excited and everyone thinks it's amazing, and you watch the demo and it's, oh wow. But is the market really ready for each of your businesses, and do you really see the ability to start real communities? Nogi, start off. Anyone start off?
Okay.
Question, actually, yeah.
Yeah. So, end of 2019, the number of high-end VR headset penetration was only 10 million. But versus, the Nintendo Wii, it's like the 100 million.
Right.
It's 110. And even the Nintendo Switch, it's a 50 million. So it's still growing. So someone says it's a small market. VR is so small. But, we see this is opportunities, because the number of headset is actually growing. Right. But I'm not sure compared with a console gaming, because it's, if it's console game, the market size is already like a 50 million or 100 million devices. Not yet, but it's going to catch up soon. That's why I think it's almost ready. But blockchain, especially blockchain game, because my previous company Gumi invested one of the top blockchain game called My Crypto Heroes, and it started very solidly, but after that a little bit got stable, and I don't know right now because I left, but I don't know it's become like other the AAA hit titles in console. That's why I just want to know other one's opinions.
Yeah, I mean, from a technology perspective, there are some struggles that need to be solved. For example, scalability of the transactions. Right now, if you go to the Ethereum network, which is one of the most used and where the most of the projects are, the problem there is that you have high transaction fees for that, and you also have, at the same time, you have high transaction fees. You also have a limit in type of the amount of transactions you can have. So there's a scalability issue there. There's some working going on there for layer 2 networks, for example, Matic or well, other blockchains even, for example. But I think the market is ready. We need to make it friendly for users. I think that's the main thing we need to work on. But yeah, the market, at least for tradestars, which is talking about sports, the market is there. We need to bring the technology in a friendly way. But I think that we are in the right moment to do that.
Dan?
Yeah, I think the question of timing is, always one that is very pertinent when it comes to launching any kind of technology company. And with Veve, we've been in development for a couple of years. And to be honest, I think right now the timing literally could not be better for us. I mean, it's unfortunate, what happened with COVID, but I guess for our particular business, there's been a little bit of an upside in the sense that people are staying more sort of separated now, and people are starting to communicate a lot more digitally, and Veve offers another way to communicate like this. Also, in the NFT space, for those of you who follow that, obviously that is starting to get very, very popular now. When we started this business 3 years ago, this is exactly what we wanted to happen. Bring amazing digital collectible licensed NFTs to the market, and now I really think that the timing couldn't be better. In addition to that, throughout this year, Google has launched their new AR through the phone, where I think you can Google any animal's name or whatever, or a dinosaur, and then you can drop those AR elements directly in your living room or wherever you are. And for us, that's been a huge advantage because it's literally exposed people to the fact that, hey, I can do AR on my phone anywhere, anytime. And now with Veve, you can do all of that and more, but again, with your favorite characters, your favorite brands, in your own cool kind of showroom. So yeah, I think that, timing is always a very important thing, but I think for us, the timing is right.
Cool. So the reason I got into all this stuff really had to do with science fiction, right? And Neil Stephenson's Snow Crash, and the idea that we'll all have avatars that will exist in a third verse, and when we'll start to live a meaningful part of our life in that alternate parallel universe. And so we will no longer be bound by time and space, and I'll no longer be bound by the person that's next to me. COVID's kind of shown this a little bit through the we'll call the Zoom reality, which has its positives and definitely its negatives. But I think that we're merging towards a place where we'll have avatars that can exist and can coexist with other avatars, some of which represent individuals, and some of which, where individuals will have several avatars out there, which are programmatically and algorithmically behaving and enacting different parts of our life, financial, entertainment, etc. And so, what I'm looking forward to is the ability to start to, when in physical goods, if I have my glasses for my wine, and I have my dishes and my TV and my fireplace, they're all sitting in one place around me, and they're tangible to me, and so they're present, and there's the out of sight, out of mind kind of concept. And I think that you guys are all in different ways approaching this with what's going to end up becoming content in a bigger world, and in a different world, we're going to relate to each other. And I wonder whether you guys have thought forward, into how you're going to fit into that type of universe. And I think it's a different question for Nogi than it is for the other guys, but I think it's interesting to hear from different perspectives how you see that evolving over time. And what are your thoughts there? Kristen, you want to start?
Yeah, interesting question. I don't know. It's hard. I mean, what we are seeing at the adoption of NFTs and the technology itself allows to have a unique item, uniquely owned by users. This is happening for the first time in history. I think it's really a huge, it's a simple but a huge concept. It has a lot of consequences. You think that, for example, we can in future tokenize a portion of a land, and I don't know, investor in London could buy a piece of a land in Texas by doing a transfer in a digital, from a digital wallet. So we need to, there are some things that need to happen before that. Obviously, laws and things that we need to overcome. But I'm seeing that this is an unstoppable technology. I mean, this could be applied to could make any virtually and liquid asset instantly liquid, and could be for example, if we can tokenize a player from Buenos Aires, we can add liquidity to that player, and we can enable investors in Japan to invest in a player in Buenos Aires. It's like crazy. It's never happened before. So I do think, and I expect, and I work for that. I'm sure that will happen in the following years.
Nuggy, what's your perspective? How do you see this evolving from gaming to real life?
Yeah, that's really good question to ask me in Third-verse, because that's actually the company vision.
Okay.
Why we named that Third-verse is so people's life is totally dependent on their environment, right? If you born in an emerging country or more advanced country, your life is different, right? And so some people who want to be actually the different gender, or who want to be more athlete, something different in life totally, but it's not 100% happen. And someone might have another, their ideal life. But what we are trying to provide is, the people, they can be whatever they want to do. Sometimes they want to be, for example, me, I'm going to be the female in the one game, and then actually, more the female. But other game, I'm being like a rich person and I'm a businessman and talking. That kind of things we are going to provide to the users. That so many the third places. And try to make people happy, because every time, I want to be something, I want to be something, I want to go to something, I want to go to somewhere, I want to go to the history, that kind of things we are trying to provide. And in real life, whatever they are, but they feel happy. That's what we are trying to do. That's our concept of the business.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And Dan, how's that? What's on your mind after you heard that, Dan?
I mean, I do agree with Nogi that we're all going to end up in the Matrix one day. Absolutely, it would be a lot of fun. I guess part of our business is that we always try to be very forward thinking, and that's why even with the app we have now, we have a lot of cutting edge technology in there, from AR through to crypto, blockchain, tokens, NFTs. And I mean, myself personally, I really am a fan of the future. I'm a futurist, and I feel that the way technology is going to evolve, at least over the next 5 years to 10 years, is that wearable devices that allow us to experience and enable AR in our everyday life will be the next, I guess, as you say, killer app. We've had the phone and tablets and so forth around for the past sort of 10, 12 years. The next iteration of that will be wearable devices, where in those worlds we see, number of 3D items. I mean, James and Nogi, you touched on, being able to look different. We already see that now with Snapchat, and Facebook with the different masks. And when we have wearable devices, which, let's face it, is inevitable, all the major companies are working on it now, that is going to be part of our reality. And because of that, part of Veve's roadmap is that, what we are selling is limited edition digital assets, 3D digital assets. Right now, the platform, the medium that you look at that is through the phone or through our app. But we really believe that the future is interoperable, and we will continue to sell these amazing branded products that one day could adorn your body or be on your wall or be outside or whatever. So yeah, I think, James, that really is the next wave of technology that's coming, and one that I believe or hope that we've sort of positioned ourselves quite well for.
I'm getting excited listening. So that's fantastic. So guys, talk to me, like what would you guys be asking each other, and what should I be asking you? Because you guys are taking this so far differently than I expected.
I don't know. I mean, I'm interested in how you guys see the NFT space evolving. Actually, I see that. I mean, this is, as I said, it's a simple concept that has many implications here, and we are just, this is the tip of the iceberg. I do believe that these have many applications in the following years, and obviously we are pre-massive, let's say, because all the things are happening between, I mean, in a crypto, community, let's say. The challenge is to open the doors to the massive public, I believe. But how you think that will evolve when that happens?
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, NFTs really are going to be almost like crypto 2.0. You know, they're, especially in the non-fungible side, you know, like you've got a Batman where you might, you know, if you don't like Batman, you might not pay any more than $5 for it. But if you're an absolute Batman maniac, you might pay $100, $1,000, $10,000 for it. But, you know, the real advantage with NFTs as well is, you know, even goes like way beyond collectibles, you know, the ability to tokenize all parts, all aspects of our lives. You know, Chris, similar to what you were saying before, you know, the fractional tokenization, you know, that's the future of, you know, potentially public transport, where you buy a fractional part of a token of you know, Tesla's next drivable car, and you earn, you know, you get revenue from that. So tokenization, yeah, I really think it's going to change the economics of how the world works, and will allow and I guess enable people to really start divesting and making money in very different ways. I mean, number one, you know, I hate to keep promoting our Batmans, but, you know, come and buy an edition Batman, you know, one day it could be worth $10,000. So yeah, it's a very
I do the same with Messi. Always my example is Messi.
I thought it was Maradona. Wait a minute.
No. It's Messi. I would say always Messi. Like,
I'm with you. I'm just giving you a hard time because you're Argentinian. I wasn't going to bring up, you know, the real Ronaldo. Nogi, you know, this is really interesting as it moves towards you, because you're in VR, you know, which is the cool space, which is its own world, which offers the opportunity for people once they're in there to start to experience and be marketed to and be attracted to in a holistic sense, right? And what you really need is content in that world in order for people to interact with it. So when they talk about NFTs, what they're really talking about is, you know, own your data, own the content. Like the old style of game, I would go on and I play FIFA Ultimate Team, like, and I've wasted thousands of dollars, you know, over the years on those players. And every year EA comes back to me and says, sorry, you start at zero again. You know, my pocket's open, shovel some more money in, right? And what's coming around now with NFTs and blockchain is the ability for me to build elements and then post them on Dan's site, you know, and develop them on Christian's site, and then to trade them with other people, having different senses of value and continuity between the different elements and the different environments where I go to. Do you see that becoming an important aspect of gaming, and will you be moving your platform in that direction, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Because I, you know, when I was involved in more blockchain gaming, then sometimes do the kind of speech, and then you know, the still gaming is, you know, parents hate if the kids play. They always say just study. But in the future, you know, kids might earn money as long as they play game. And then other part is, you know, the artist and or creator, they have a more opportunity to earn money, because still even music, whatever, like, you know, indie creator made something, but big guy just copy it because there's, you know, we don't know who made it originally. But that's, you know, the fundamental blockchain technologies. And then virtual world, you know, I think in the, you know, the direction wise that going to be happen in the future. But we need, you know, reach out the mass market, and then many people have to be in that environment. That's we are trying to realize right now.
Yeah, James, I think you touched on a really good point, which is that in the end, it really all comes down to content. You know, there's going to be many different platforms out there available. You know, Nuggy, as you mentioned, Facebook have brought out the Quest 2, very, very cool experience. Once that becomes available, where, you know, people can start bringing in their own content and start, you know, laying out their own virtual worlds. You know, that's really where I think we start to see a lot more people coming in. I mean, you know, you look at games like Animal Crossing, very simple game, been around for a long time, but it was so popular because people could create and customize their own environments. And all of that stuff is done with content. So I think that's a huge driver for this, this future of AR and VR moving forward.
So I think it's really interesting what you're saying, because I have the Quest that I bought for $800 or whatever they fleeced me for, and I use it, but I wear glasses, so it's a little awkward, and I went in there and I didn't really find any content that I wanted, and they weren't really able to get me to spend, right, which I thought was kind of interesting. So I never really got into the using the platform because I never paid the $49 to get into World. So I looked at some of the lounges, and I ended up using my expensive rig to play poker, which I could have done on my iPhone, right? And so to me, I haven't, I know that it's there and it's lurking, but they haven't seduced me yet, right? And I haven't got to that point of where I'm seduced and I'm there and I'm willing to go through the pain point of putting on the camera and sitting there and having everyone in my house saying I'm being antisocial, right? And there's all kinds of things which I think are barriers right now. So we have about 5 more minutes. What I'd like you guys to talk about is what's the barrier that you need to break through to get to mass adoption, and then I'll give you each like a 1 minute to have the mic for yourself. So I'll stop talking.
Sure. Yeah, I can kick off on that one. I remember I read a really good book by a guy by the name of Peter Diamandis called Bold, and in that book he was talking about PayPal and how they basically got to where they were. And the key thing that he believed to get technology into the masses really comes down to one thing, which is UI, user interface. It has to be easy. You look at any technology, even crypto when it began, it was super difficult. You had to be nerd level 9,000 to be able to do it. But now there's so many more people in blockchain because it's so much more accessible. We have easy to use wallets, easy to use exchanges. And even now we're starting to see, even with Veve, it's an easier way for you to interact with NFTs than you normally typically would. So I think this is really a key driver and needs to be a key focus on any technology company. We all know a lot of blockchain companies out there. And they offer very, very good tech, but sometimes they may not get the uptake because the UI is not there, the usability. And that really, no matter how, if your technology is super great, but people can't use it, it's really probably doomed to failure.
Yeah, I agree with that. I see two or three struggles here, pain points, let's say. One is the payments, because if you need to have a wallet, you need to buy crypto to use some of the platforms. So we need to have fiat on-ramp solutions, very easy, like Stripe. We need to have a Stripe in crypto for allowing users to easy pay something. And the other thing is scalability, which we're looking at right now. I mean, we can have a massive product right now on Ethereum, for example, because it's just you can scale. So and people is working on this. This is happening, and then Ethereum 2 is coming, and there are other second layer solutions on top of that, other blockchains. But I see that scalability is one thing, and obviously to hide that layer of having a wallet and getting crypto to use. I think that's one of the main pain points from that you need to overcome in order to have a massive product.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there, Chris, especially with the fiat onboarding. With crypto apps, there's that huge barrier that you have. I mean, it's not so huge nowadays, but it's still fairly insurmountable for some people, even to buy your first ETH or your first BTC. So being able to remove that barrier, like we're doing through Veve, allowing people to basically buy everything with an in-app purchase, but that obviously still triggers, all of the necessary blockchain and crypto in the back end. It's all still there. It's all still relevant. It's all still accessible. But there's this layer over the top that makes it very digestible. So yeah, I think that is a very good point about the fiat onboarding.
I mean, from one side, the technology is amazing. I mean, it allows us to have your unique for yourself. I mean, it's your wallet. You control it. You have to know your key, to do that. So we need to hide that in order for normal people to use it. It's very hard because you need to find a balance between the two words, right?
Nogi?
Yes. So
What barriers need to come down to make it easier for you?
yeah, it's many things, but I'm the very strong VR believer, and then VR going to be the next generation computing system, not only gaming, but also business, education, medical, many things people gonna use. But I think it's the same as like a smartphone came up. What is the people start spending money is actually game, right, on the smartphone, and then game is actually the biggest the portion people spend money on the smartphone, and then VR is, I think it's the same. Entertainment is very important. People really into it, but when the Nintendo released Nintendo Switch, we actually doubted it's going to be popular or not. But what they did was actually bundle with big IP called Zelda, the big game, and then they have so many users already, and then people started buying the device. That's why VR we need to improve many technologies like eye tracking, the hand tracking, many stuff, but still we need to provide the solid game which people never experience at the entertainment side. That's the one of the challenges of barrier. We should just go through.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is just each of you just quickly just give a URL and a way people can reach you if they wanted to learn more or they wanted to onboard or try your game. Where would they go? Dan?
Yep. If you want to learn more information, head over to veve.me. That's veve.me, and sign up for the waitlist. And we look forward to having you on board.
Okay.
Awesome.
Chris?
In my case, it's https://tradestars.app, and you can register there and play.
Fantastic.
Yes.
We don't have a good homepage, but you can reach out with me, like nogi@thirdverse.io. That's my email.
I'm gonna reach out there. So.
You should reach out to Nogi. Everyone should reach out to Nogi.
Guys, thank you so much. This was fantastic. I really appreciate it. I got some great quotes. We're all going to end up in the Matrix. It's going to go on my business card.
Hopefully.
Cool.
Thank you very much.
And I'm actually going to, Jim, you know who hasn't talked about themselves at all? You. So tell us a little bit about Jim and Powell Capital. I think that's a note I want to end up on. You've been very generous with your time and sponsoring and getting these great guests on. So let's tell us something.
I really appreciate that, Gordon. So, I've been focused on businesses that are going to benefit from the digitization of information for the last 25 years. I formed my company in 1996. When I first formed it, everyone said to me, that's not a business. And now everyone says to me, that's every business. So the idea really is, as I spoke before about Snow Crash and Neil Stephenson, is that I think that we're evolving to a world where political, social, economic, religious boundaries, educational boundaries are no longer going to be limiting for us, and where we're going to all live in a world where we can deal with each other person to person, regardless of where we're born or what religion or what sex or we are. And so I'm looking forward to I look at blockchain and distributed ledger technology not as a technology, but as an enabling force. And the changes that we're seeing are not about the technology, but they're about people and the needs that we have to escape from the controls of the centralized authorities that we're dealing with. And it shows up in fractals everywhere in what we're dealing with. In this conversation, one of the interesting points was NFTs are cool. Everything's going to get tokenized. Everything's going to be digitized. Everything's going to be tradable and ownable. But how do you onboard? Because the governments are controlling how you go from fiat to tokens, right? Yeah. So all the conversations we have hit upon this need for us to start to grab control of our daily existence and our daily owning our own assets and owning our right to communicate. I believe that the essential right to freedom of speech boils down to most essentially, how do you hold your money and how do you spend your money? Because money is the ultimate expression of freedom of speech. So
would you even say that money is speech?
Money is how you spend your money is the ultimate expression of freedom of speech. Because you might lie to people about what you're thinking and doing, but you don't lie how you spend your money. You spend your money how you want to express yourself. And that's where governments are controlling us right now. And that's where this crypto distributed ledger world allows us to decentralize and to express ourselves with other individuals again, around politics, society, the economy, religion, education, and I could start to be more free without censorship, which is what these controls are. And so I've collected businesses around me and working with people to create the way for individuals, institutions to start to participate in the changes that are happening in the world, both to participate in these communities, and also what I focus on is creating liquidity strategies which enable individuals and institutions to invest in these with their time and their money and their passion.
Interesting. And where does the name PAL Capital come from? PAL.
That's a long story. So PAL Capital is actually Pacific Alliance Limited. I used to do emerging markets I opened, Bear Stearns' office in Hong Kong.
Right, we talked about
this
that.
company in China, the list on the New York Stock Exchange. And so I had a partnership with a bunch of guys in Asia, which was going to be a bridge between Asia and the United States. And then I was too lazy to change the URL.
You know what? Lazy people get stuff done.
Well, I had other things to focus on, like Steve Jobs. I only wear black because I don't got time for anything else. So
I like it. And what's your? I understand the general gestalt of being interested in digital and escaping from centralized authority. You seem to have a particular affinity for games and VR and AR. You haven't said that, but I'm picking up that vibe. Is that right?
Well, because I think that the way that we define the way we define ourselves is changing over time, right? It was used to be defined by where I was born, who my mother was, and what little town I was born in, and that's growing more and more global. So now that I can, as Nogi said, and I loved it, I can be, a smart woman on one site, and experience that and be that personality and let that be a part of me. And on another site, I could actually be, a smart athlete that can dunk. Like how great it would be if I could actually jump high enough to dunk, right? So I believe that this technology is going to enable us to express ourselves. I believe this is all about free will and imagination and enabling people to live the life that they want to live. And I believe that that I'll start to actually earn my living in the third verse, right? That my living will no longer be, and this is happening in the Zoom verse, right? So I'm sitting in Vermont.
Wait, actually, can I pause? Let me pause you 1 second. You used that term before, and as I'm muted, I have my video out, but I strongly smile to myself because not only is it clever, but it kind of points to the incremental nature of technological evolution. The fact that it spaces out over time, it doesn't happen all at once. So by the time it happens, it doesn't feel like the future anymore. It just feels like, wait, yeah, duh, obviously. And so you're right. We've been sort of shunted off into the Zoom-like matrix. I mean, I'm not actually in a room speaking with you. Well, actually, I am in a room speaking with you, but you're not in the room.
I'm in a room and you're speaking, but I'm not. And so, but the nature of what it means to be present is changing.
Yeah, right? I mean, I feel present with you now.
Right.
I mean,
right. Gordon, we've never met physically, and you're my friend. Right?
That's scary. Are you a deep fake or are you like a real guy?
Exactly. I'm actually.
It's an NFT avatar, actually.
Right. But it's all going to evolve like that. And now they're coming around with deep fakes, right? Where there's AI, where I'll be able to create a deep fake Nogi, who could sit there and pontificate to me about the third verse, and Nogi off bowling with his kids. Right. So, I just think that the nature of what does it mean to be present, and how do you accomplish and how you start to multitask, and how you can start to create these family of avatars that represent you at its core, but are able to act simultaneously beyond your physical being and beyond your mind space. And so I think that this leads to it's not here now and it'll happen differently than we expect, but I think the future will be different than the past, right? And I think that it takes a little bit to accept that. And people don't realize things are happening until after it's happened. That's one of the realities of human nature, right? It's not so, oh my God, it's already happened, and then you realize you're doing it. And I think these gentlemen on the in this panel are all part of that, right? Christian's giving me the chance to monetize and be excited and passionate about my knowledge in sports. And Dan's letting me interact with my lifelong love of Batman. I'll throw it in there for you, Dan. And Nogi's going to build the world where I can have an avatar where I have hair, right? And I can dunk, right? And people think I'm smart, right?
Yeah.
I can't wait. But,
No, I don't know. That's like quantum level VR, James. I don't know. They got to wait another couple of years.
I don't know. I don't know if Nogi's that good, but we'll find out really soon, right?
I hear James.
Whatever you want to be.
Yeah, quantum VR, where we're all really good looking.
No, I am here. I am here. I'm here. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic. And then just keeping the light on you for a second, how did you hook up with this conference? Do you know Julia? Do you know Ivan? You really stepped up for this, these sessions here. This is great.
I think I met Juliet in Davos, but the truth is, I don't remember anymore. Everything, my whole past is blurred into one single moment, like a singularity.
Let me play off that point. You made a nice comment, like you and I have never been in the same meet space, but we're friends, clearly. Yeah. That's evocative of something else I felt recently. We were just, with all these traveling and all these conferences, when I meet someone and I know them, I can't quite remember if we ever first met on social media or in person.
Right.
And when I meet someone, after social media, it's like, it takes me a moment to realize it's the first actual meeting them. It's the weirdest thing. And there's like this frisson, what's the boundaries of our world? I always used to, slightly sarcastically view things like Second Life and VR. I'm like, come on, losers, just like go out there and go to the gym.
Hey, wait a minute.
No, hold on. No, okay, listen, I'm not pure, I play Civilization. So, but it was more like I was talking to myself. It's like, hey, loser, go to the gym. But the fact that in a pandemic, we can have this conference, you can form the relationship with Juliet and Ivan and this organization and just do it shows the positive,
right?
Every tool has ups and downs, but it shows that strong positive upside. So I appreciate your passion and your vision.
Closing thought for this session, and maybe for the conference.
Yeah.
In answering the question about how we got here, with the people here and the sessions we did for the last couple hours, I really believe in paying it forward, and that the new distributed ledger world gives you currency beyond just fiat, where you can really benefit and create a livelihood and a network by paying it forward and getting together with passionate people who believe in the same things you believe in. And really what we're building globally through distributed ledger is a shared universe where we can start to create. And I think that we're about to start, the next, the crypto or cyber industrial revolution, where we're just going to see every time that humanity has thought we've maxed out and you can't get any more efficient and there can't be another quantum growth in change and in love, and in learning and education, that something else comes along that proves everyone wrong. That's a paradigm shift. And I think we're in the middle of that now. And I think the important thing is to pay it forward, to involve people in your community, to grow your network, and then learn how to work together to create new forms of organizations where we can all prosper together.
You're right, that was perfect. Everyone, we're gonna end Digital Week Online with some wisdom from James Haft. And I wanna thank all our panelists. I wanna thank our organizers. I wanna thank everyone who stuck with us through this multi-day event, which makes me kind of go back to the organizers. Ivan, you and the whole crew there did, I think you're on mute, my friend. You and the whole crew there did amazing work. This is just heroic. You're like Atlas.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gordon.
Thanks to the organizers.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, James. Yes, thank you. Thank you, guys. Amazing.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
That's